The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, the story everyone got wrong. If you've ever heard about the Stella Liebeck case, the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, consumer safety, or one of history's most misunderstood legal cases, you're about to discover why almost everything people believe about it is incomplete. For more than 30 years, this story has been used as the ultimate example of a ridiculous lawsuit. An old woman, a cup of coffee, a multi-million-dollar payout. Case closed. Or was it? Because what the jury saw inside that courtroom was so disturbing that it completely changed the outcome of the case. And chances are, you've never heard that version. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may never look at this lawsuit the same way again. It all began on a cold morning in February 1992. 79-year-old Stella Liebeck had stopped at a McDonald's drive-thru with her grandson in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nothing unusual, just another cup of coffee. After getting their order, they pulled into a parking space so Stella could add cream and sugar. She wasn't driving. The car wasn't moving. She placed the cup between her knees and carefully tried to remove the plastic lid. Then, everything changed in an instant. The entire cup spilled directly into her lap. At first, that doesn't sound like the kind of accident that makes headlines around the world. After all, coffee is supposed to be hot, right? That's exactly what millions of people thought. But here's the part almost no one was told. The coffee wasn't simply hot. According to evidence presented during the trial, McDonald's served its coffee at temperatures between 180 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, human skin can suffer third-degree burns in only a few seconds. Think about that. Not minutes, seconds. And that's exactly what happened. The burns Stella suffered weren't minor. They weren't the kind you treat with an ice pack and a bandage. She suffered third-degree burns over her inner thighs, groin, and buttocks. Doctors hospitalized her for about a week. She underwent painful skin graft surgeries. Recovery took months. The photographs shown to the jury were so graphic that many people who have seen them say they completely changed how they viewed the case. Before we go further, comment below. Before watching this video, did you think this was a frivolous lawsuit? Yes or no? I'm curious to see how many people have heard the full story. Now, here's another detail that's often left out. Stella didn't immediately rush to court demanding millions. In fact, she first asked McDonald's to reimburse her medical expenses. The amount she requested was around $20,000, just enough to help cover the costs of her treatment. McDonald's declined, offering only a much smaller amount. Only after negotiations broke down did the case go to trial. And that's when the story became even more surprising. During the trial, lawyers presented evidence that McDonald's had received hundreds of previous complaints involving coffee burns before Stella's accident. The company's position was straightforward. Customers wanted coffee served extremely hot because it stayed warm longer during their commute. The jury had a different question. At what point does serving a product become unreasonably dangerous? That question became the heart of the entire lawsuit. After hearing days of testimony, the jury concluded that Stella herself shared part of the responsibility. They found her 20% at fault for the spill. Her compensation was reduced accordingly. Then came the number that dominated headlines around the world, $2.7 million. Suddenly, every newspaper had its story. Late-night comedians made jokes. Talk shows mocked the lawsuit. And for millions of people, the case became proof that America's legal system had gone too far. But the headlines didn't tell the whole story. The $2.7 million wasn't intended to compensate Stella for her injuries. It was punitive damages, money designed to punish the company and discourage similar conduct in the future. The amount was calculated to represent roughly 2 days of McDonald's coffee sales at the time. Even that figure didn't last. The trial judge later reduced the punitive damages to $480,000. Before the appeals process concluded, both sides reached a confidential settlement for an undisclosed amount. So the number everyone remembers isn't even the amount Stella ultimately received. Amazing how one headline can shape public opinion for decades. Today, many law schools teach the Stella Liebeck case not as an example of a ridiculous lawsuit, but as a lesson in consumer safety, corporate responsibility, product liability, and the power of public perception. Because once a simple story spreads, the complicated truth often struggles to catch up. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Sometimes the version everyone knows isn't actually the real story. The next time someone laughs about the woman who sued because coffee was hot, you'll know there was far more beneath the surface than a spilled drink. So here's a question for you. Did learning the full story change your opinion? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read as many as I can. And if you enjoy uncovering the truth behind history's biggest myths, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are plenty more stories where the facts are even more surprising than the headlines. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.